Welcome back to Rock Guitar Confidential with Scott and Ryan. On today's episode, take out both the mental and dental floss. It's all about keeping things fresh. Next.
It's something they don't warn you about when you're a kid. You know, when you're younger, you kind of just, you don't think about. I mean, old when you're young is like 30. You know what I mean? And
youth is wasted on the young.
1,000%. But when you're like, you don't contemplate. I'm not going to be 45, 50 years old. That's not going to happen to me. Not me. I'm special. I'm different. You know?
Yeah, I definitely. Well, I just didn't expect to be alive now.
Well, good for you though. You've defied the odds. You know what I mean?
I guess so.
You've made it. You made
Here
it.
We
happen,
are,
man. You've made it happen. You're going to live longer. Look at all the good health choices you've made.
I'm telling you, man.
You're going to live to at least 60.
Yeah, that's right. And which, you know what? And that definitely extends my my original estimates.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
That's far beyond.
Like, I'm gonna make it like 45, man. That's
remember
topping it out right there.
Yeah, remember thinking like 40 was old.
I remember thinking there's no way I'll ever turn 40, man. Like that's so far in the future. Like who could even imagine?
It's gonna be forever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, meeting people in their 30s when I was a teenager and thinking they're so old. Like, oh man, they're so old. That kind of thing, and it creeps up on you, man. And then as you get older, like recently, I've had some reminders in my health situation where it's like, yeah, you're not this kid anymore. You're not.
Oh yeah, dude, having the hole in my abdominal wall repaired for the second time really drives that point home.
Well, I think if you're going for the third one is free though, right? So that's just like,
yeah, let's hope so.
Second one on the board, and then third one's free.
It's got to be better than what I paid for the second one.
Wait, do you still have the coupon? And when does it expire? It probably expires like the day before you can eat it.
Shit,
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
the coupon being the Affordable Care Act.
They like click the thing on like the one more kiddo and it's free.
Yep. Luckily they rolled me over to 2026 so I could pay even more.
Oh, that's so fun. Well,
yeah,
that's good.
Super stoked about that.
Healthcare in our country is amazingly well run. It's just
I'm
so
telling
good. I'm sure everyone's so jealous everywhere else in the world. Oh my God, we should only have the Americans. They have such better food.
So you say the French?
Yeah, the French,
yes.
or pretty much picture any Western European country. They're going to be looking at us like a little bit. Like
yes, indeed. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So we're off starting on a happy note there.
Yeah, mortality. It's for everyone. Yes, even you, kiddo.
Oh my goodness.
No, but speaking of that, we discovered that between the two of us that we've got like almost 50 years of teaching experience.
Yeah, 50 years of combined teaching experience.
That's so crazy,
your career is about to turn 30.
Yep, it turns 30 this month actually. I've been teaching full-time professional guitarists for 30 years now. That's so crazy.
Dude, and I've been teaching full-time for 18 years now.
Which is a lot, man. That's like so much there. So Ryan brought up the
wild.
Interesting question, which is like, okay, when you've been doing things for a couple decades, how do you keep it fresh? Like, how do you not only keep it fresh for you, but you keep it fresh for your students? How do you keep up with the times?
How do you keep things fresh?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, mostly it's deodorant. That's the biggest key right there.
Now, I've noticed recently that it doesn't matter what clear stick I buy. Like I just, one of the joys of my adult life is like never running out of toiletries.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember being younger and like, you reach for the deodorant in the morning and it's like dead. And then
you had the one stick for like a year and a half or something too. You have to make it last.
Yeah. Just one swipe on each pit. Right?
Exactly. That's it.
But so
I like the extra aluminum in mine. Give me more aluminum. That's what I want.
So so I switched. Well, okay. So I have. So I use Mitchum. That's my in the regular grocery store brand.
That's the Robert Mitchum signature stick, right?
Right. It's basically the manliest sounding brand.
Yeah.
Mitchum. Right. Doesn't it sound manly?
It's horrible. So have some Mitchum.
Have some Mitchum. Yeah, what kind of deodorant do you use? I use Mitchum.
Robert Mitchum.
Right. Yeah. Totally Robert Mitchum. And I can see that sounds like the kind of that sounds like the deodorant brand that like Sean Connery or like Burt Reynolds would use, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s.
In the 70s, that's right. I feel like those guys used Mitchum.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've been...
Wait a minute, you're not getting any money on the back end from Mitchum right now, are you?
God, I wish I were.
Is this product placement?
Dude, it could be.
If so, I want a piece, man.
I know.
I want a little taste.
I want free lifetime deodorant.
I want my wedded, okay? Come on.
That's right.
So that big time Mitchum money that's rolling in.
And and the grocery stores run out of it quickly. So if I can find that Mitchum
like a run on Mitchum.
There's always a run on Mitchum. Yeah, totally. There's always a run on Mitchum. Yep.
That's so funny.
So so I've been a convert to Dr. Squatch toiletries and stuff. And
fair enough.
Yeah, so you got you know, a shout out to my aroma bros at Skips, Josh and Micah.
Is that your
you know,
street gang name? Is that their gang name? Like,
yeah. Well, you know, like
watch out for the Aroma Bros.
sometimes we go by the League of Tastefully Spiced Gentlemen,
Nice,
but
okay.
you know, we all care about our personal aroma.
Yes, well,
and,
you're in a confined
cologne
space
and,
with a lot of people every week, and you really need to not be bringing, you know.
Yeah, no joke.
Don't bring the noise. Don't bring the bring the noise, but don't bring the funk.
Dude, I have had students who had other instructors come and complain to me about the other instructor's halitosis.
Oh my God, yeah, that makes sense. I remember
Dude,
having
yeah.
a teacher when I was a kid. It was like that. I was like, okay, I got to sit as far away as possible in this like 2 foot by 4 foot
Right.
space that we're in.
Yeah, I don't know if our students realize like we have to pay attention to our aroma.
Yeah, it's true. Ironically, a lot of times when I have teenage boy students in particular, they start hitting a spot where like they haven't started wearing deodorant regularly, but they're getting their man smell now.
They don't care about hygiene.
It's just so horrible. I feel terrible for the person coming after them too. It's like
Right.
They leave. There's like a waft of like I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. It's like a blue smoke that's falling.
Because again, we're in a small room, right, dude?
Yeah.
I keep mouthwash in my car.
Yeah.
You know, tomorrow I'm gonna have tomorrow I'm teaching at Skips from 10 a.m. all the way until 7:30 p.m. and I've got 1.5 hour break.
Oh wow.
I'll be eating lunch and then brushing my teeth on that break
Yeah.
and then using mouthwash.
Have you considered eating and brushing your teeth at the same time? That might save you some time there.
I could just eat toothpaste.
Yeah, that's it's delicious.
as
of course.
as
good.
people are known to do
It's
when the
good
hard
for you.
times roll
It's good
around.
for you. Yeah, it's what they did back in the Dust Bowl. So this all toothpaste eaters. You know what I mean? It's what
Right.
That's where it started. The Crest people started coming that point.
That's right, but that's smart that they were fighting cavities even during the
Hey
Depression.
man,
So
your dental hygiene does not take a backseat to anything. I don't
yes,
care. You know,
that's right.
if you're eating bark on the side of the road because that's the only food you can find, you must still take care of your teeth.
dude, I gotta take care of the teeth I have left.
Exactly.
Yes, it's yeah. So anyway, keeping things fresh. That's definitely one way, literally, to keep things fresh
Literally,
as an
you
instructor.
must do that. Just as a human,
It's important.
everyone out there just listening within the sound of my voice, please keep it fresh. Like, be sure that you consider other people around you, and try.
Yeah,
and
including your instructor. So like definitely. Oh, and
family, friends, anybody just happens to be behind you at the grocery store. Just anybody. Yeah, just please consider it.
So now I also keep fingernail clippers like on tap at all times. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. So, dude,
what do you ever like to whack down your kids' fingernails? Like, oh my God, let's get that. Let's get that taken care of.
Dude, I'll send them to the trash can. Like, clip your nails. You got it right now.
Oh, I know. And they're like super long, and I can't hold down a G chord. My pinky's got his long fingernails.
Dude, and it's always the teenage boys. They're the worst. Right, and I mean the girls do the acrylic nails and stuff, but
that's so terrible though too. Like I'll have a girl come in, I just got my nails done, and then they have these giant long fingernails.
Right.
Okay, how are you going to play a bar chord exactly?
Well, I mean, or how are you going to play like anything?
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't even get access to tips of your fingers when you're playing. So that seems like a critical component of playing guitar.
Yeah, that is. I mean, you can you can do some like scale stuff,
sort of,
not really. It depends on like how enthusiastic the fingernails are.
Yeah, and I feel bad in a way because I know it wasn't cheap to do the fingernail thing that they.
Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of bad too, but not that bad.
No,
I mean, like,
why'd you do that? That's a bad idea.
Right, we're here to get some work done.
Yeah, it just shows you where that reminds me where on the hierarchy of importance to them. This is like so far down. Like I don't even care if I can't play guitar. I want my fingernails to look cool.
I mean, there's got to be a way to. I don't know. I wonder if that's like a marketable thing, like acrylic nails that won't interfere with your guitar playing.
Well,
but I mean, I guess the length is part of the point. I don't know.
What percentage of the population do you think are worried about their guitar playing though?
Like none.
Yeah, like 1%.
Less than 1%.
Generous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's especially It's funny though. I had one student of mine who had really long nails and could still play everything. I was amazed. They could do like a major 7 A string root shape and with the giant nails. Like, how are you doing this? This is amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember bringing that up to students who were like, I can't do it. My nails are too long. Oh yeah, I had this other student. Doesn't stop them. What's your excuse, big guy? You can do this. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Your poor hygiene, don't let it get in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
This other person's
no
poor
excuses,
hygiene.
baby.
Yeah.
No excuses. But okay, so let's think about like when you're instructing and trying to keep things fresh. I think one thing that I always try and do as much as possible is keep abreast of what the kids are into. We've had a few podcasts talking about what the kids are listening to. I was trying to understand what the new latest thing is. It's actually gotten infinitely harder over the last 15, 20 years because like what they listen to is everything that you can imagine. There's not really any one thing. There's not any common thing. Like, there was a time I say, okay, Green Day. and everyone kind of knew what Green Day was. Or,
And
hey,
they still do, like, some things like persist, right? But,
but not everybody though. Like some people are like, dude, I had a student the other day who had never even heard of like Garth Brooks. You know, and I was like,
dude, I'm happy for that person. They've never heard of Garth Brooks, and hopefully they've never seen or heard Garth Brooks's music or seen what he wears.
So they only know him as Chris Gaines.
Experienced, or yeah, right, exactly. hopefully this person has just simply never experienced new country.
Well, okay,
and I'm happy for that person. Like, I wish I could go back in time to where I had not experienced.
I should have never opened this,
or to where like the Garth apocalypse never happened and never exist. If I could go back to a time,
I'm using Garth Brooks as an avatar to illustrate a point.
If I could go back to a time where nobody tucked their shirt into their jeans, which by the way you should never do.
That's true.
Ever. There's never a reason to tuck your shirt.
You have to
show
off your giant belt buckle though. I mean, you have to defend them in that way.
Anyway, I just
like you're a welterweight champion or something like that.
Well, whoever that person is you described, like, just please, like, take good care of that person and help them cherish the not knowing about, like, new country.
Whenever someone says to an artist I don't know, I'm like, no, I don't want to know. I'm so happy here in this ignorance where I don't know this person. I'm so happier. It's so much better.
You just take a beat to experience to savor that last moment of your life
where you don't have to know
where you don't know about it, exactly. and then you have to listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. But the point I'm trying to make though is like, you remember? I know you know because we've had whole conversations about this, like how gigantic Garth Brooks was, and the idea that like just what,
unfortunately
25 years later, like no one's even heard of him. It's like, isn't that crazy? You know, like it'd be like if it would be literally fast forward like to 2046 and no one's ever heard of Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? It would be exactly.
I think Taylor Swift is bigger than Garth Brooks was.
Well, maybe
Garth Brooks was big, but Taylor Swift is.
I actually think Garth Brooks sold more records than the Beatles, dude. You know what I mean? It's
well, yeah, but I mean, selling record, like, how do you? Okay, so I would want to see
the receipts.
Well, like how do you compare Taylor Swift's success? Because like selling records isn't really a thing the way it was anymore. That's kind of hard to say
because it's not apples to apples. It's totally different.
I mean, you could take a look at like how her tours sell, like how many dates and how many fans.
Gigantic back in the day, man. I mean, it was.
I think Taylor, I think is approaching Michael Jackson status.
No, I think she's there.
You think she's there?
I think she's there. Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, I mean, Michael Jackson in terms of fame.
Okay, it's another one though, man. That we talked.
But I've got to give Taylor Swift did it with. As far as I can tell, 100% less pedophilia.
Wow, we don't know.
So
we should
good for
that.
Taylor.
Probably at least 98% less pedophilia, just to kind of cover ourselves, because we don't know.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean,
we don't know when those Dateline things are going to come out in like 5 years when we find out.
Dude, wouldn't that be the worst?
Oh, sure, dude.
Like that would be like the last like shred of like faith in humanity gone.
No, I don't think Taylor's the last shred of humanity.
No, but just I mean, like
not Taylor.
I mean,
no.
I think part of like Taylor Swift's appeal is that you get what you see, what you get, what you see. You know,
I guess, yeah.
You know, it's the perceived authenticity.
Yeah, I agree that perceived authenticity.
Yeah,
for sure. But I mean, the point I'm trying to make is this: we live in a time though where like there's not a common shared culture. Like everyone knows all the same artists. Like everyone knows the artists that they know, but they don't know all. There's not like a crossover. There's a lot of these people who are huge in this little bubble and they're huge in this little bubble, but not everyone knows who all those people are. When we first started teaching, or at least when I first started teaching, everybody knew like who the big artists were. I could say AC/DC to anybody. Go, yeah, AC/DC. I know that, of course. Everybody across the board, kids, adults, whoever. That's not the way it is anymore. You know, now I say an artist like AC/DC or, you know, the Eagles or something like that, who you think would be this massive, everyone knows who that is. Not at all. You know what I mean? There's people under 20 don't know any of that. You know.
So how about with like fundamentals stuff, right? So for me, like, you know, so the backbone of my teaching method is we go through. Shout out to my good friend Tommy Armstrong at EMG Pickups. Author of Chord Camp and Finger Fitness, right? So that's like the backbone, right? There's 3 Chord Camp books that take you all the way up to chord extensions. And then there's the 2, well, actually, there's also some Finger Fitness 3 stuff that gets into some arpeggios and all that, right? So, you know, pentatonic scales, and then like all the modes of the major scale, and then there's, then you get into arpeggios and stuff. So like that's the backbone, but like over the years, I've added stuff onto that, right? Yep. So like we don't just go through like the Chord Camp 3 stuff, we go through the real book and we pick out tunes, right? There's another method called advanced rock guitar by a guy named John Finn.
Yeah, so John Finn is. Yep.
Yeah, so I started integrating like that method, right? Because it reinforced the other stuff. And so on and so forth, right? So I do, I take our good friend Rusty Cooley, who's been on the program, you know, I have students do Rusty Cooley's Arpeggio Madness after we do. So like I'm always so I'm, and I'm in the process now of like scoping out some new fundamental stuff to add to my curriculum and offering.
Yeah.
And and that's to keep it fresh for the student. But if I'm honest, it's also to keep it fresh for me.
Yeah, because it's something new. You're not just doing the same thing you've always done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think one thing that's is really cool about private teaching too, though, is that like every single person who walks through the door is a unique story with a unique need. You know what I mean? So you have to kind of figure out what does this person need. Now, the fundamentals are going to be the same no matter what. You got to know chords, got to know rhythm, you got to understand chord transitions, you have to understand harmony, you have to understand basic technique. That's going to be the same no matter what you want to do. But like how deep into those things we go, and how do we just do surface level on like things like improvisation and lead, or do we go deep on that? Do we just go basic technique, or do we go really deep on the technique? That kind of thing is going to depend. Like if someone's main goal is to be a singer-songwriter, I'm not going to take them all the way down the line of all the different things we're going to do.
If that person is just a singer-songwriter, so what happens when they show up to their lesson with a capo?
Well, we have the common. Oh my God! I just had this conversation with some students yesterday about this too, because we got to the point now. It was so satisfying.
I just did it.
It was so satisfying.
Sorry,
Ryan.
Listeners. Here we go.
I was able to. Just finally went through, and we talked about with a couple of the students who I finally got to the point where they understand modulation. I said, okay, let's take this chord progression. What are these chords? Find it in 3 different ways. Now change that to this key, change it to that key, and they were able to do that. I said, now that is what you would have not learned had you used a capo. That whole thing. And now you've avoided a life of being conscripted into the capo. Like you have no options but to use a capo. Now you can use a capo because you choose to use a capo, but you understand how to do things without a capo, which is so important. What I mean?
I wholheartedly agree. Bravo to that student.
Yeah, well, several students actually who's gotten
nice.
that spot, which is really cool. And it's
doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, exactly. Now I don't have anything against a capo per se, as long as it's not like a thing that stops you from actually learning modulation.
Right. We've gone into that in great detail. It's a crutch and everything. But anyway, so that's good.
Wait,
I'm happy with those
hear me
students.
go off on this path again. Come on, it's always it's so much
well
fun.
I know it's my fault for
it's
poking.
So much fun.
Yes.
Hey,
poking
you got
the bear with the capo.
Go on the Garth Apocalypse. Okay, I got to go my little 2 cents on the fact that the capo is an awful, horrible thing.
So do you ever find for example, right? So when I'm going through Finger Fitness 1 with a student, that again, these are pentatonic exercises and even rhythms and odd rhythms, moving, cutting through all up and down the neck, like all the different ways you could possibly chop up the pentatonic scale, right?
Yeah. One of the most commonly used scales for people who don't know. That's pentatonic's like used in all styles of music. One of the most commonly used.
Yeah, it's the common language of every. So when
Keith Richards stopped when he was learning.
Right. so when I introduce the pentatonic scale, it goes something like, what is cool about the pentatonic scale?
I know where this is going.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
You know what sucks about the pentatonic scale? Everybody knows it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna learn it in a way where you're gonna not suck.
Yeah.
You're not gonna sound like someone who's just chopping down a tree.
Yeah.
Like all downstrokes.
Yeah. No, of course not. My God. All the different strokes, babies. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, so I started integrating the John Finn's got a chapter in his book called which I don't think is published anymore. It's called Fretboard Geometry, where like now there's these diagrams that perfectly fold into some of the exercises in Finger Fitness 1. So, I found that book, it was gifted to me by another teacher. And so then I integrated it into my approach. And, now I enjoy teaching that stuff more because now there's even more material to reinforce the point. It keeps things fresh.
Yeah. And gives them a chance to work on stuff in more levels of detail and stuff, and you can see how this is applied in the next step and the next step. And
so it's
visualization of the fretboard is for beginning students is really challenging. That's
sure.
They have a really hard time seeing it sometimes. They can have 1 or 2 patterns, and that's a lot of the media out there when it comes to learning scales is like position based. Like I'm going to stay in 5th position and play my pattern, my box pentatonic scale.
Then it's like cage system type stuff.
Yeah, well, the cage system is a freaking nightmare. I hate that thing so much. It's
really?
like, I hate it. Oh my God.
I think it's great for fretboard vision, right? Especially if you take it from the perspective of like arpeggios.
Yeah, but you don't. You
know what I mean?
You don't need it, man. It's just. I don't know,
it doesn't hurt.
It's a crutch. It's a crutch, like a lot of things.
Whoa! I don't think the cage system is a crutch.
I don't.
Again, if you want to learn how to like sweep an arpeggio, like in all the inversions, like up the neck, like caged is super useful.
I don't know about that, dude. We're gonna have to disagree on that one. I've long despised the cage system.
Plus,
let's put it this way: there's a reason why no music schools anywhere teach the cage system. So that's just not something that's
okay. So for fretboard vision, if you took like a C major triad and played it in the C, the A, the G, the E, and the D form, where all your C's, E's, and G's are. That's a great step towards like learning the fretboard.
There's other things you can do in the fretboard though.
Oh, and we do those things too. Like we do everything, right?
There's
like,
a lot of people out there though. They start and stop with the cage system, and that's
well, I'm not suggesting that either.
That just absolutely blunts their growth, and it reminds me a lot of the capo in a lot of ways. It's like,
whoa! It is no. It is not the capo. It's just learning where your chord forms are up and down the neck. I reject your criticism.
I totally don't, dude. You don't need to know the chord shapes to know the notes are. I don't know.
I'm not. But
okay.
that's not my thesis.
Okay.
I'm just saying
we're not going to agree on this one.
I'm just saying it doesn't hurt to be able to. And again, we arpeggiate when I teach it. We don't just play chords, so it also gets us into playing or triad arpeggios all up and down the neck. It's not the be all end all.
I don't stop at the triad arpeggios. I do all the triad arpeggios diatonically across the neck.
Yeah, well, I do that too. I'm not saying the cage system instead of all that other stuff.
Sure,
it's just one other arrow in the quiver.
Man, I hate
among
so
many. I'm surprised. I did not expect you to be a caged hater.
I'm not a fan.
I didn't expect you to be a caged fighter.
No, exactly. I like Johnny
fighting
Cage.
the caged.
Of all the Mortal Kombat people, Johnny Cage is my favorite.
What? No way, dude.
Yeah, like, man,
dude, Kano ripped his heart out. It was the best.
Kano's pretty good. Yeah, I got that. Who's the one with like, the 4 arms? I can't remember. What's the 4 arm guy?
Oh, that's Goro.
Goro, he's pretty good.
Goro was cool. And then like if you get into like Mortal Kombat 2, Jax with like the Robo arms.
Yeah.
Because he got his arms like ripped off in the previous one, but then he goes and rips other people's arms off. Man, Mortal Kombat is just a really good
It's like life lessons, really.
That's like the perfect video game for like family night.
Exactly.
Oh my god, dude! That's a sidebar. Last, like I saw. So we talked about like the Star Wars stuff that was being made with like AI.
Yeah. Would you see? Oh my god, see some Mortal Kombat stuff with AI?
It's it's kind of like that. It's kind of like Mortal Kombat. I saw the coolest video this week, it was AI, right? But it was Darth Vader versus the Hell Priest from Hellraiser. otherwise,
so they're saying like a shared universe.
So it's like who would win, and it puts it like the whoever created it puts it as like whole plot, and like of course they had to input like why so and so would defeat. Anyway, so for those who are uninitiated to the Hellraiser universe, the Hell Priest is commonly referred to as Pinhead.
Okay.
Although Clive Barker hates the name Pinhead, it's just a colloquialism.
He probably shouldn't have put the pins in his head then.
He did not actually.
It wasn't his call?
I think Leviathan did.
It's not his call about that?
No, it's not.
That's shocking.
No,
wow.
No. Once you open the puzzle box, Leviathan's going to do with you whatever they're going to do with you. I mean, you're the one who signed up for these, what are known as limit experiences. So that can be extreme pleasure or extreme pain. You're just so that's what the Cenobites are.
Okay.
They're just interdimensional travelers in search of limit experiences. They're just trying to have like the most intense experiences like imaginable.
Right.
So that could include like having like chains with hooks on them coming from out of nowhere and peel all your skin off. But that's a limit experience. It's extreme pain.
Sure.
But they don't distinguish between pain and pleasure. That's part of what's so cool about the Cenobites, right?
Yeah, that's what I tell my kids don't.
Yeah, you gotta show your kid this video. I'll flick it over to you. So it's like who would win. So basically,
that depend on what universe you're in. I mean, if you're in the Darth Vader universe.
So here's how they did it, right? Yeah. They talk about the puzzle box and how it's been sought after by like peoples for like millennia, right? And so finally Palpatine and Vader get their hands on the puzzle box, and they're of course trying to like unlock its powers for their own nefarious like ends with the dark side, right?
Yeah.
And so of course that summons the Hell Priest.
Of course.
And then so while Vader's in his chamber where the thing brings his helmet down in Empire Strikes Back, we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Right after he has all the dead flesh scrubbed off of him in this cool new, like way better than Disney Star Wars universe that's being created.
No opinions here. This is all facts. Right.
So so they have a row, and they end up like there's combat between Darth Vader and Pinhead or the Hell Priest, and like you can almost see the moment where Vader realizes, oh fuck, I'm too family friendly, and Pinhead just rips him apart. It was so satisfying. It's so satisfying watching the Hellraiser universe kick the shit out of the Star Wars universe. It just made me so happy.
Box office receipts, my friend.
It was so what?
Box office receipts.
No, that's not what it's about.
Office receipts.
That actually proves.
You do realize we live in America, right?
So that actually so Hellraiser is actual quality art, whereas like Star Wars is just like toddler time capitalist product.
Thanks for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Ryan and Scott. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Now back to the show. All right, fair enough.
So there you go. So I just had a moment
Wow,
this
we're
week
gonna
where
have
I got to.
really, really contentious podcast.
I got to. It all started with the cage system.
Not agreeing on anything today. I swear,
it was great watching the Hell Priest like destroy Darth Vader with the power of the interdimensional cage system.
Capo in each hand, it's like
the capos come out like on chains from out of nowhere and just go pinch.
It's like it's all the worst things that could happen.
All the capo is kind of like a little crab claw.
That's true.
Like you could it could be turned into an implement of torture.
Weapon. Oh my god, yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, it could be. It already is.
It already is. Yeah.
Implement of torture. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry I took us so far off track. But,
well, you know what though?
It was so nice.
It's funny though when it comes to students. I get very excited when I can tell a student is going to really like eat up everything I have to offer. It's really exciting because it's like, okay, I can take this. This person's going to.
Yeah, I've got one of those right now.
This person's going to get the most out of me that's something they can get. 'Cause some people like they really only. I feel like it's weird. It's almost like a colander. You keep pouring the knowledge in, and it keeps pouring out the bottom of the colander. So you have to keep trying to refill the colander with knowledge.
Yeah, no, this colander. I've got a colander right now that is like it's full.
Yeah,
like it's just I got
colander.
I have to like refill my colander with so I just recently bought some more like teaching material, and I'm going to check it out. I mean, I haven't vetted all of it, but I'm sure there's going to be like some cool like stuff in there, right? So now the challenge is like I need to carve out some time to familiarize myself with some new stuff, with some new teaching material.
That's cool. That's way cool.
Yeah, so it's so that's something that's like I've done that my whole teaching career, right?
And one thing I find is tough sometimes with students is to explain them why the harmony and theory part is so important. Because they kind of look at that as like, oh, I don't need that, or what's that? I always try and explain to them like this is so important. The reason I hope I get enough equity with them that they understand I'm not going to waste their time. So I'm not going to ask them to learn something I know that's not going to be useful to them. You know what I mean? But stuff like understanding chord theory and how to, recognize triads and sevenths and not extensions and stuff like that. Yeah. Suspended chords. What does that mean? How do you practice it? How do you learn? And I always explain to them like learning the notes of the neck is not like maybe I will at some point. You need to learn your notes.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's got to happen. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen in a weekend or something, but it's got to get done. It can't like be forever a mystery, which is why it's amazing. I saw an interview with James Hetfield. He's like, I don't even know what the notes are. I'm like,
yeah, that's
dude,
so
you've been playing guitar
frustrating.
for 45 years and you don't know where the notes are? Like, what are we talking about?
Dude,
it's like,
but you know who knew where the notes were? Cliff Burton.
That's true.
He knew where the notes were, and that's why Metallica only has 4 good albums.
Well, I mean, that's probably true. I mean, but if you think about like all that,
like, do you think Kirk knows where all the notes are? I mean, he might actually because of Satriani.
Yeah, I'm sure Satch didn't like let him off the hook on that one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So Kirk's not the main like creative driving force though.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he's kind of just the widdly guy.
So the thing that sucks about that, for our listeners who might be wondering, like imagine being like a typist, but like you're just hunting and pecking, you never learn to type.
And you don't know where the T's or the P's are.
Right.
Like, maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the one. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's why also understanding harmony, like understanding what a chord progression is, how you do modulations, how do the scales relate to those things. It's not like extra knowledge. That's like the most important thing to understand. It's almost like how do you can't do anything if you don't do that. If you don't know that stuff, you can't do anything.
Yeah, that's not the advanced chapter.
Yeah, that's you must know this because it's basic knowledge.
The stuff. Fundamental chapter. Yeah,
exactly. And I think sometimes there's so much like misinformation. I mean, there's a lot of good information out there in the media about me guitar playing, but there's a lot of terrible information, and people who don't know can't distinguish the two. So they'll see, people come in who've watched YouTube videos and they say, "Oh, you don't have to know the notes." Jimmy Joe's Flim Flam Jam Band said you don't have to know the notes.
Esteban.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Ralph Paul.
You shouldn't waste your time with understanding music. It's just like play and feel. It's like that kind of thing.
I had a student once spent money on a program called, I shit you not, it was called Learning to Solo Without Scales.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this on the podcast. We talked about this. Yeah.
Like, why would you want to do that?
I know.
Like, how is that even done?
Yeah. I guess just memorize melodies.
I mean, I guess just play literally just the chord tones ever.
Yeah.
Which,
guess so.
Could be either easier or harder
what do you think
depending
the
on the context.
Are with a functioning chord progression, they're going to understand the chord tones.
Well, right. Yeah.
How is that easier than using your scales?
Right. The audience to whom that's marketed is not going to be
asking these questions.
Right. Or understanding those questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
people are always looking for like a way out. So I think the key when you're trying to present information to people is just teach on kind of a need to know basis. Like, here's the things you need to know right now.
You're on a need to know basis.
Exactly.
It's like you're like the CIA of guitar instruction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll send a packet at the phone booth of the corner of 15th and you know.
Yes, right.
You'll get your next assignment. That kind of thing. It was like, but I don't burden them with having to understand like, okay, this is this and this is where this is going. I say, this is what we're going to learn this week. This is what we're going to learn next week, and then you got to make sure you're practicing all of it because it's building towards something. You know, this is like math. You can't forget how to subtract when you learn to add.
Math.
But it's just, you have to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And you go to calculus. You
That's what I'm told. I'm not very good at
divide.
subtraction, but yeah.
You know what I'm saying, though?
I'm good at addition.
You can't jettison those skills. You're building those skills to get you to higher skills. Does that make sense? And that's the same sort of thing in guitar. And I think people don't understand that it's like that. You know, they kind of think, oh, I just put my fingers on number 5, and that's what I play. You know,
it's the I just want to learn songs approach.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before.
Well, there's so many bad teachers out there, not just in person, but like online too. There's a lot of charlatans. A lot of people are giving bad advice and throwing people off the trail that they should.
Well, there's also like if you go to a shithole like Guitar Center, right? And you know, I mean that person,
subhumans.
Yeah, that teacher there is only getting paid minimum wage, so they just don't care.
Yeah. Well, they also probably don't know anything either. That's why they're working there. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So that's. Yeah,
Or, yeah.
But the average. I feel bad for people looking to learn though, because they don't know the difference between like a person like you or I or a person like that. They don't. They walk in and guitar teacher. You know that they just think it's just all the same. You know what I mean? And it's I don't know. I feel bad for them. I'm glad they come when they come to one of us because they actually get someone who cares and is going to invest in them and stuff like that. And
dude who might buy them a real book when the time is right
because you're super kind. Exactly. You know.
Which I'm just again. You know, Tommy Armstrong bought me my first real book. So Tommy, if you're listening, thank you.
Yep.
So yeah, dude, it's a cool moment like when I get to pass that on.
Yep.
You know, like I'm happy to. It's money well spent.
You're such a good dude, man. You get your students guitars sometimes if they need one and stuff. That's really cool. That's incredibly sweet.
You got to invest in your students, man. It's a proud moment when a student earns a real book.
Yep.
That means we've done so much stuff like up until that point.
Yep.
You know, that real book will serve them well.
I think that as far as keeping things fresh for the students, so I think that always trying to up the ante a little bit is one thing I try and do. Like with, we've learned up to this point. Okay, let's like for instance, we have our pentatonic scales down, right? Okay, now let's do 3 note per string pentatonics, and then let's do odd grouping sequences within those pentatonics, and do crossing strings, do things where we're hitting the octaves on each note, going on the descending through the just kind of level up each of those things. Oh, cool, you've got your extended triad arpeggios. Now let's go ahead and do 7s, and then let's do combinations of those other 7th chord arpeggios, and then let's do altered pentatonics through those 7th chord arpeggios. That kind of thing. Just kind of raising the bar little by little by little. Oh, you like the 2-handed tapping? That's cool. Let's start doing multi-finger tapping. And then let's get that bar raised. And so just kind of lifting for the students who are game for that. Some students are game for pushing as far as they can, and some students just want to get to a certain level and they're comfortable there. And some students I can tell are drowning. Like there's so much information that they aren't keeping up with already. To add more to that is just a bad idea. So
right. It's just got to hang out with something for a while.
Yeah, just hope they kind of catch on and stuff. And I think one thing I always try and explain to my students, because I hear a lot of refrains or variations of this idea that, man, I wish I had more time, or I wish I could quit my job and just practice guitar all day long and stuff. I'm like, well, that's cool, but you don't need to do that to make progress. You can do a couple hours a week as long as you're putting your time where it does you the most good.
That's
You'll
right.
make progress. It's really about organization more so than more time.
Absolutely.
And consistency.
And when things do get really, really tough, I mean, because I know, like life pops up, right?
Yeah.
So, speaking for myself, like I've got elderly parents.
Yeah.
I had to take my dad to a surgical procedure last Friday, and, I only got I got less than 24 hours notice from the hospital as to when, so stuff like that happens.
Yeah, that's understandable
right?
too. That's
so those are the weeks when having a lesson is most crucial.
Yeah.
Right, because then you get to hang out with your teacher and you continue this conversation about music that you have every week, and that helps keep you afloat during times when
you can't
things
practice
as much as you typically would.
Or
right?
if nothing else, we can at least do it together again and reinforce it.
That's right.
That's huge.
So for all of my students who might feel like they aren't advancing as fast as they would like to, keep coming to your lesson, because that's gonna, that is the lifeline.
Yeah, I have a lot of people too who want to try and let's just do an hour every other week. That's better. It's like, yeah, that's not as good for you though. It's better for you to be here every week, because that way I can catch stuff. If it's starting to, going sideways, I can fix it. 2 weeks is a long ways to go running down the wrong path.
I agree. There's a couple of caveats. I mean, I have some, when
I do that all the time, by the way. That every other week students, I have that.
Yeah, I have that too.
I definitely
for the ones who travel
be,
physically a long distance.
As long as there's a possibility of every week, I think every week is still better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. No, I wholly agree. And then again, it depends on who the student is, right? Like if it's someone who's starting from scratch, every other week is the kiss of death.
Yeah.
if
Because
it's
nothing's going to get done.
because nothing's going to get
You're
done,
getting stuck
right?
in the mud, just doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah.
Right, but if we like, so like a lot of my students that do 1 hour every other week, like we started off with a half hour every other week for like a number of years.
Yeah, yeah, and it kind of grows.
So it's a
yeah.
different
Yeah.
it's a different thing, right? So like I know that they know how to operate the instrument. Now, I don't have to tell them to keep putting their thumb where it's supposed to go.
Yeah,
and,
they've
you
kind of
know,
gotten
shit like-
past that stuff. Yeah.
Right. So that's a different thing. But anyway,
I think what's funny too is I find that a lot of times people underestimate how much repetition it takes to develop good technique. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So okay, cool. You got it twice. Good. Let's get 5 more of those. Like, what do you mean? Like, okay, let's get 10 more of those. It's like you need
Yeah.
to do it over and over and over and over and over again until it's freaking cold.
well, and how much maintenance plays into it. Like
Yeah.
once you develop a new skill, you then have to maintain it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when it comes to the physicality of the instrument, for
Yep,
sure.
that's right.
You know what I mean? And I tell my students this all the time. I probably practice about 2 hours a day every day, but 99% of it is maintenance.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean? It's almost all maintenance, and that's just what you signed up for that. If you want to maintain that technique, you have to do that.
You've got to,
Yeah,
and
it's
you know what?
just-
That's and then the student's gonna show up who's gonna like push those limits.
Yeah.
You know,
I
there's
hope
gonna
so.
be that.
I want that. I want
yeah,
those students,
dude.
man. I want someone who's really serious.
That's
about it,
bringing it full circle, man. Shout out to my student Luke. He's gobbling up the information.
Oh
and
my god!
I love
Are you his Yoda? That is so cool.
Yeah, we're not gonna. No, I'm like his hell priest.
Of course.
I'm like his hell priest, and like he's like my chatterbox.
You know what's funny though? I find
Yeah,
is
because
that
Chatterbox was the kid who became a Cenobite, the one who has like his like mouth all peeled open and stuff. Yeah, that would be a much cooler.
shockingly,
like,
I've never watched the
dynamic.
Hellraiser movies, so I don't
Fuck
know.
what, Scott?
I can't believe
Scott.
the idea that you were shocked by this
What?
is really quite amazing to me.
Dude,
man.
you know what?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's based on a tale called.
Oh, no, I don't need to know more
It's called The
information.
Hellbound Heart. No, but you're a fan of things like physics and like smart. It's really a smart, well told story. If you stick,
I'll take your word for that.
it is. You would enjoy it, dude. So for
I would
Halloween.
enjoy like the guy's skin being ripped from his flesh.
Well, that's not exactly how it works, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but like it works as like a supernatural kind of thriller. It's just a really Clive Barker is a monumental creative mind.
Wait, is he the guy behind Nightmare on Elm Street's Clive Barker?
No,
right?
that's Wes Craven.
Wes Craven. Okay. Yeah.
Wes Craven's okay. He's not as good. But Clive Barker gave us Nightbreed, which is also like a go-to like Halloween type movie. And I mean,
It's
and
like a
these-
werewolf movie, right?
no, it's about like monsters. Imagine if like monsters were real
Okay.
and they all lived in like a subterranean place called Midian.
You know, I was talking to Tucker Carlson about this, and he assures me this is correct.
He was
This is-
attacked by the monsters
exactly, this is
from
exactly
yes.
right.
Yes, well, I mean, Tucker Carlson's such a good faith actor.
Yes,
whatever he says.
I mean, you got to take it on faith. He's telling you the truth,
Absolutely.
'cause he's that kind of dude. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
apparently he spent some time recently denouncing the Old Testament. He only believes in the New Testament.
Oh, okay. Well,
Which,
I'm sure
there's
there's some
some-
very good reasons behind that.
Some
you know.
soft anti-Semitism from Tucker.
Oh, yeah. Well, soft.
Right.
That's nice.
So now he's
Being
got
gentle.
permission. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll move off of that.
Yeah.
But Nightbreed, Hellraiser.
Okay.
So just as like a literary force, because he also writes novels. There's about to be there's some cool video games that Clive Barker has been involved with creatively.
Wait, is
so
he
just
still alive?
yes,
Is he?
most
Okay,
certainly.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
he also does visual. Just like as an artist, I really love Clive Barker.
That does not surprise me. No.
Absolutely. Well, but I mean, and this is not just. I mean, it's very elevated, smart stuff. I'm not kidding at all. Just watch Hellraiser with me. You'll enjoy it. Or Nightbreed. You'll enjoy it.
I can
It's
promise
actually
you I will
smart
not.
stuff. No, you can't. No, trust me. You'll enjoy it.
I don't think I will. Then.
It's so clever. Like it would tickle your brain in like a good way. You just gotta trust me. I wouldn't recommend other horror movies. I'm not gonna ask you to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm not gonna ask you to do like a run through all the Friday the 13th movies. But knowing you,
There's like 27 of those. right?
as my dear friend whose intellect I respect, you would enjoy Hellraiser.
Speaking of that,
That's a horror movie for Scott Allen.
that's one of the things I actually want to bring up was the intellect part. I think a lot of what I'm teaching, especially things like modes, chord theory, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff, that I always explain to people, this is not something you can memorize. Like a lot of people think that playing guitar is memorizing numbers on tab or something like that.
No, you have to experience it and apply it.
Yeah, but you have to understand that it's like a language. It's
Yeah.
like you can't memorize French. You can't memorize German. You have to just understand how the the language works. And that's something I spend a lot of time with my students, just really teaching them how to think. Like,
Yeah.
here's the information presented. Here's the chord progression. Okay, what is this? Analyze it. Okay, what are the scales that go with that? What are the notes of the chords? That kind of thing.
Yep.
And I give them a bunch of variations, so they have to like every time just approach it like, with a problem solving sort of point of view. Rather
Sure,
than sort of
absolutely.
and I think that's something that a lot of people are kind of taken aback by when they're taking lessons with me, is that they have this, they're so challenged intellectually by what we're doing, you know what I mean? And physically, because obviously the physical part of it's pretty challenging too. But I think that's really the next level when you're teaching someone is getting to understand that it's not like this, the theory is happening some other place. The theory is happening all the time.
Right.
It's just about understanding it and recognizing it and how to navigate it and how to use it. And it's like having a conversation with somebody. You
Yep.
can't sit down and memorize this. You have to understand these are the chord changes. This is what this is applying to me. This is the tools that are appropriate to that. And then you have to have vocabulary, just like a real language,
Yep.
to be appropriate to that.
And then over enough period, over a long enough period of time, like you encounter those chord changes over and over and over, and go, oh, I recognize that.
Yeah.
I recognize that situation,
Yeah.
and in this situation, I could do this or I could do that.
But the skill I'm trying to develop them is how to analyze the situation. Like, what are
Yeah.
you seeing? What does this mean? What is appropriate to this? That's the brain power I'm trying to get with that. And the same thing with like when it comes to rhythms and stuff too. Like a lot of times people think, oh, I got a couple rhythms I can do pretty good. I'm good on rhythm. It's like, well, no. How do you count 16th note rhythms? How do you count 8th note rhythms? What's syncopation? What's your hand supposed to be doing? If you're doing funk versus say a strumming acoustic thing versus like a metal thing,
Yeah.
you have to develop those sort of understandings. It's not optional. You have to know those things, because
Right.
otherwise you're going to be stuck in a corner somewhere like where you don't know what to do, and that's not a place I want you to be. And that's where the people get frustrated. I think the challenge is that people are, and this I've said this a million times, but the people are looking for a short, quick, easy fix, and that there isn't such a thing.
Well, there's a lot of marketing that
Yeah.
like points at that, right?
That's-
And
'cause it's-
there's also corporate entities, and
Yeah.
there are franchises.
It's just
out
like anything
there,
else that's hard. Like lose weight. Oh, just take this pill. That's
oh
all you
yeah,
gotta
how
do,
many years have we seen ads for that, right?
Exactly. Or you want to get a $100,000 job? Well, just go 6 months program at the Western Auto. Blah blah blah.
Oh shit! Right, you have
yeah,
to
it's
get
like-
rich quick.
yeah.
Partnering with Joshua
Yeah,
to run internet ad revenue, whatever they call it.
But that's what people want to hear. They want to hear it's easy. It's not hard. But dude, I'm telling you from experience as a dude who's been doing this a long time, there is nothing in life that's worth doing that's easy.
I agree
You know
completely.
what I mean? It's you have to be up for the challenge. If you're not, you're going to always be like wondering why you aren't any good or why you aren't developing. That kind of. It's just.
And as we established at the beginning of today's definitely not generated by AI podcast,
as far as we know, I mean, we might be living in the Matrix for all we know.
you never know.
Yeah, we could be.
It's all just could be a computer program.
Exactly. We don't even know it. How would we know?
It could, that's right.
As far as I know, neither of us is the one though, so we're okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm definitely not feeling very Neo-y. Although I did just buy a pair of sunglasses recently for the first time in a long time, so I can get my Neo. I got some Oakley Square wires for the
Nice.
first time. Yeah, I treated myself to a pair of Oakley Square wires for the first time in like 25 years.
Was it inspired directly by the Matrix?
No. No.
Aw,
Man, I remember when The Matrix came out, like people coming to me, and I mean, at the time I was already like high on philosophy.
Yeah.
It's like I'd already adopted Bertrand Russell as my personal favorite philosopher at that point in time.
I'm on record as I love the Bertrand Russell Terrier. It's the best dog ever.
The Bertrand Russell. Yes. I was really hoping that after Great White fired their singer, they would have hired Bertrand to replace Jack.
Yes, of course.
So there could have still been a Russell on the mic.
Bertrand Russell Terrier. The Jack Russell Terrier. I
If
love
you
it.
want to get all punny about it.
Oh my god, I love
Yes.
it. Yeah.
So-
Actually, I really love Great White. That's a band. That's underrated band in my opinion. I'm a fan.
I just don't want to. I don't ever want to
Inside,
hear once bitten, twice shy. I never want to hear
There's
that
so
song
much good
again.
Great White,
but there's
though,
so
man.
much other good Great White. Yeah.
So I think Kendall's a really underrated player, man. He's not like a shredder or anything like that. I think he's more to me like more in the Billy Gibbons kind of world.
Yeah, he's a blues rock guy.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
But he's very tasty, and his like riffs are killer and stuff, and it just rocks. It's good stuff. I've gone back and recently done a whole kind of deep dive on Great White again.
Dude, there's an episode of Parks and Recs where to cheer Tom Haverford, Aziz Ansari's character, to cheer him up, they take him to a strip club.
oh, they're playing that. Were they playing the once?
They were playing Lady Red Light.
Oh, nice!
And it's just like,
hell yeah!
and I'm just
deep
like,
cut.
fuck yeah!
That
like,
means some producer like knows that.
yeah,
That's, hell yeah, that's
good
awesome.
job, Amy Poehler,
Yeah,
for picking like the best stripper song.
That's so cool. Hell yeah,
One of
dude.
them.
Yeah,
I know.
I thought Mr. Bone would be the one.
You would think.
Yeah, I would think that would be kind of the obvious one.
You would
but-
think. Well, just the energy on Lady Red Light,
Yeah.
like that's definitely like.
Dun, 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 bow, bow,
yeah,
bow,
yep.
bow. Yeah.
So I invite all of our listeners to check out that song. It's
Go
very,
listen
very
to
cool.
the two albums
So,
from Great, like Once Bitten and Twice Shy by Great White are both killer records.
so when The Matrix came out, I remember people coming to me all like their minds having been blown. But I mean, if you had just,
How do you even know what reality is?
I know,
man?
but dude, if you had read the whole, okay, if you take a white table and shine a red light on it, is it red or is it white?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a scientific explanation for that. When you talk about spectrum, like mass.
It's all about light bouncing off of the surface,
Yeah, yeah.
and so the only thing that made it white, it's not the paint, it's the way the light.
Yeah.
bounces
Well, that's also
off
how our
the-
eyes have evolved over billions of years.
Right.
So, exactly. That's just what it is.
So I just remember being like not impressed with like it showed you. I don't know. I was not
you feel
impressed
like
with
it's
those
philosophy
people.
for dumb people. Is that what you're
Yes, I do. Yes, exactly right. Thank you, Scott.
It's like whenever I see someone who wants to talk about the art of war by Sun Tzu, it's like, oh yeah, it's always like a dude with like the tap out shirt though. We have a steep philosophical, philosophy thing about like Sun Tzu's art of war.
I guarantee that none of Joe Rogan's like hardcore audience has read the Art of War.
I know, but it's that guy. It's always that dude. Like, Red Bull. Like, let's check out Art of War.
MMA.
Yes, must become your enemy. That kind of. It's always that guy.
Kick me in the Jimmy. Yes, do it again. Yes.
So I just don't have the impression I'm going to have a long, deep philosophical conversation with this dude. It just doesn't seem like that. And it's so funny. I remember I read a book a while back. It was the oh my God, what was it? The Five Rings. It was the Morimoto is the guy's name. I can't remember what this. Anyway, it's the warrior samurai who wrote a book about philosophy. And I read that.
Nice.
And then I came to realize as I was looking for more information on him that this is all just like a bunch of douchey incels who read this kind of shit. And I was like, oh man, they're scripting this thing, their little thing, but
Yeah,
not
that
taking
sucks,
any of the
dude.
message from it. They're just
Right,
like,
of course not. They're
yeah.
just adopting, just a veneer of,
Yeah. I hate
And-
that stuff. I don't ever want to be aligned with that. You know what I mean? It's like,
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Man. Like it sucks when like a certain odious culture like adopts a thing that
Is good by itself.
Right,
Yeah,
adopts a thing that's good. Yeah, like I've got fond memories of my cousin Mark giving me a cassette tape with the soundtrack to Beat Street 2 Electric Boogaloo on it.
Oh yeah.
Like I loved it.
Yeah.
Like I cherished that cassette tape.
That's
right?
like the breakdancing movie, right?
Yeah. And then, like Ice-T makes an early appearance
What?
in it. Yes,
Like
before
he's
his
rapping
days.
on it or something, or
I think he does do
or
some
is it,
rapping.
he was
yes.
acting in the movie, or was he rapping?
He was a character. I think he did some rapping too.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So there's a brief appearance, right? But anyway. But then later on, like a far right, like neo-Nazi group started calling themselves the Boogaloo Boys.
Was there any kind of connection? To
It
that?
was. They were using Beat Street 2 Electric Boogaloo.
What?
Like I can't fully connect it. Like the like the Charlottesville marching, like those kind of douches.
It's pretty gross, man.
It's super gross. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like why? But like I've loved that Beat Street thing.
Yeah,
like
they're taking it from you. They took it away.
Yeah, since like
Yeah.
1983, and like
Yeah.
now they've turned it into this other thing. And man, whatever. You know what? We just have to be authentic about what we
Yep.
dig and know why.
Yep, exactly. And then
Yeah.
don't worry about who else is kind of walking in the door and claiming that for themselves. I mean, like a lot of the metal stuff too. Like when you go to like metal shows, there's a lot of people who are there ostensibly because they love the metal, but then also there's like these kind of add-on political kind of.
Well,
sides.
Slayer is popular with a lot of like white supremacists because like Jeff Hanneman like tinkered around with like some Nazi imagery and stuff.
Yeah.
And, and he collected that kind of shit and whatever you think about that.
Yeah.
So I don't think Tom Araya or I don't think Kerry King or like
Dave
any of those or
Lombardo,
Dave Lombardo or Paul
or
Bostoff,
Bostoff,
right?
yeah.
Like those guys are just making awesome metal,
Yeah.
in name of Satan, which
Yeah.
is great. I wholeheartedly support that part. But
Yeah, I don't think they intended to become like that. You know what I mean? We're going to be popular with this particular demographic. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's-
So
yeah.
like I'm not gonna let those those assholes ruin Slayer for me.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Right.
philosophy for that matter. I don't want,
Yeah, that's
just
right.
because someone can read a book doesn't mean that they understand the message of the book.
That's right.
That's really really big. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't philosophize with my students too much. Although I'm not beyond dropping little bits of philosophy on people if that's what they need to hear. Whatever.
Well,
they need to be
music
pushed
is-
in the right direction.
You know what I love about music is that it's in a world where everyone is trying to be so like binary black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Music teaches you to become comfortable with ambiguity.
Yeah, and comfortable with not knowing and understanding that it's like an ever increasing ceiling on what you can know.
Yeah,
it's not
it's-
like you ever top out. You can keep going infinity. As
Yeah.
long as you are willing to learn, you can keep learning.
It requires humility and again coming to grips with ambiguity and like celebrating it.
neuroplasticity as well.
Yes, neuroplasticity.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree. So basically, like the whole world would be better if everybody would just sign up for guitar lessons with Scott and myself. Yeah.
Unfortunately, at present, and I don't have enough room for the entire world.
No, me neither. I have actually my schedule really is very full.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I've only got a couple of openings anymore with a very small amount of flex time.
Accommodate the entire world. Is what you're saying.
No, I could accommodate like 0.0000000000000. Okay, if you take whatever the number is for like a Spotify royalty,
1,000. Yeah,
that's how many.
like 2. I have enough room for 2 Spotify royalties. At this point.
The fraction of a penny that Spotify would pay me for
Where it goes from like being, I made some money to just being insulting.
Yeah.
Where that point is, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, yeah.
That's right. That's about how much room I've got. But you know what I do have room for? We've got another round of Skip's Music Spotlight Series kicking
my
off.
gosh. Yeah.
Yes, this is where we put young people ages 18 and under, basically pretty much between the ages of like 10 and 18, into bands. You get 4 90-minute rehearsals. You get a rehearsal coach, and then you get an awesome performance right at Skip's Music.
Nice. Chance to get some playing experience too.
Yeah, some playing experience with a real life coach. We need singers and bass players right now. So I'm reaching out to all of our listeners.
This is a really big thing too. We don't normally advocate bass players existing, but like this is a situation where that's okay.
Well, see, we have guitar players signed up, and I don't want any of those guitar players turning into bass players.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we need bass players.
I mean, to me, like the coolest thing
singers.
ever is be a bass player, which you should totally sign up for Spotlight. Bass players, it's the best thing ever. Come on, yeah.
So, listeners, if you know anyone out there that fits that description, please send them to skipsmusic.com. You can go to the Performance Programs tab and navigate down to Spotlight Series and fill out a registration.
Nice.
And when you fill out that registration, hey, let me know how you heard about it. And say, hey, I listened to Rock Guitar Confidential with Scott and Ryan.
Yep.
And those registrations will come to me because I'm the program director. So
that's right. He's the boss man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
You guys, it's something you're not going to regret because that's like a big moment. When you go from being a bedroom guitar player to actually playing in a band with other people. There's a level of learning. There's a kind of learning you can only get in that situation that you can never get on your own, no matter what.
That's right.
So that's something that's worth taking advantage of for sure. You know what else you should take advantage of is the internet and go to our website at xagesband.com to find out more information about both our band and our podcast.
Yes, like if you want to consume some art that like you can't get the wrong thing out of,
exactly.
You listen to X Aegis.
Yeah. What's that website again?
It's www.exagesband.com.
There you find links to our social media. Please make sure to follow us on social media to get all the latest on what we have going on, both with the podcast and with the band. And thank you guys so much for listening. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe while you're at it, and to spread the word. Tell 2 friends, and they'll tell 2 friends, and we can keep growing this podcast and making it even better. I know it's hard to imagine, but making it even better than it is now.
That's right. If you guys don't want to hear my air conditioner anymore, then
I will
spread the word.
It's really more like the 3rd member of the podcast.
It really is.
At this point, it's a tradition.
It's my own robot assistant.
Exactly.
It's just it only does one thing.
Exactly right. Very
yes.
Well, all right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. Be well.
Peace.